Leadership often asks, they want you to do hard things. Usually it's two or more hard things at once. Move the organization forward and lead in a collaborative way. On their own, each of these roles is challenging. Together, they can create a tension that strains your ability to be effective at either. It has nothing to do with you personally and everything to do with the fact that the decision maker and facilitator are two completely different roles, two different mindsets, if you will. You're expected to have a point of view, set direction, and make decisions. At the same time, you're encouraged to create space for others to contribute, challenge assumptions, and co create solutions. Two different things. So here's why it's tough. The truth is, power dynamics are real. Even in psychologically safe cultures, people collaborate or calibrate what they say based on who's in a room and who ultimately holds authority. Your presence, tone, and framing can unintentionally shape what feels safe to offer and what people feel comfortable saying. It's truth. Also, bias is natural. Your job is to have a vision, as you should. But when that perspective enters the room early, it can subtly steer the conversation. Ideas begin to orbit the thinking of the most senior title instead of expanding their field of possibility. It's also hard to listen deeply while leading a room. Facilitation requires focus, and so does leadership. Listening and guiding at the same time is cognitively demanding. Facilitation requires tracking group dynamics, surfacing tensions, and adjusting the process in real time. Leadership requires sense making, judgment, and decision readiness. Doing both at once often means neither gets the depth that it deserves, and neither one is done well. The result? Conversations that look aligned on the surface but lack real clarity or shared ownership underneath. When you step out of the facilitator role and hand that work over to a more unbiased individual, something important shifts. The dynamic becomes less about managing impressions and more about surfacing what's actually true. Teams are more willing to explore uncertainty, name friction, and test ideas without trying to guess the right answer that will please their boss. Over the past 2 decades, I've worked with leaders from Fortune 100 companies to early stage startup founders to government agencies. Bringing in an external facilitator didn't replace their leadership, but it primed them for quality collaboration within their teams. In short, separating facilitation from leadership sets you up to be more successful and better able to listen deeply versus trying to capture details, notice patterns instead of managing the room's personalities, stay focused on meaning and implications rather than just mechanics, and it creates better conditions for thoughtful decision making, especially in moments of ambiguity, change, or strategic inflection. Effective facilitation isn't about consensus or culture change for its own sake. It's about helping groups move forward together with greater clarity. Often the byproduct is stronger collaboration and trust, not because those were the goal, but because the work required people to think and decide together in a more honest and thoughtful way. Leadership requires judgment and direction. Facilitation requires neutrality and mechanics. When one person tackles both simultaneously, progress is bound to suffer. If you host workshops and they feel heavy or unbalanced or exhausting, it might be a role overload. So before you ask yourself uh, what you're going to do in your next important workshop or how you're going to treat something coming up, consider separating those roles and ask yourself, in which situations is it best for me to lead and lead the thinking, and where it might help to let someone else own the process, and when is it good for me to facilitate and do that role instead. That's going to do it. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, learn more at agiledad.com. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care. Bye now.